Welcome back for another TMH Epic training video. Getting down to the nitty gritty. What we want to cover today is actually we're going to go to a variety of SmartLinks that are available. And so I've talked about a variety of these throughout the other videos and then others that I've not mentioned. You'll now notice within the qTools pop-up, so within the qTools pop-up, there's also this Last Lab SmartLinks pop-up. So and it's pretty self-explanatory, if you start to type .last, you'll start to bring up SmartLinks / phrases that will pull in lab results if they're available on the chart and if it's configured properly. Right, if we have the correct base names. If the analysts have made some new base names that we're not yet aware of that map to the lab that you're wanting to pull in, then the foundation smart link may not be configured properly. The ones that I have created, I've done some diligence of trying to make sure I've got the right base names for the apples to apples pull in of items. You'll notice in the regular qTools pop-up, you can access those Last Lab SmartLinks also from here now. So that's new even since the previous videos. You don't have to leave here to get a look at those. And I now have another pop-up for the other kind of SmartLinks that are not necessarily related to the individual labs, right? So other SmartLinks. These all are now listed in here and will be a growing list on until go live. Okay, so the goal would be to talk about a couple of these. So some simple Last Lab ones. There is a foundation one, an Epic delivered one called Last Room. Right, so Last Room pulling in the latest ANA, rheumatoid, and SED rate. All right, okay, I activate that smart link and I've got an ANA and a rheumatoid factor with the dates. Pretty straightforward. What about last PSA? Right, there's a last PSA, the last 3 PSA values. Well, this chart only has 2 of them. 2, but it pulls those in, and it's then remember, this is a great opportunity to remember that SmartLinks can be edited. So that, let's say I needed to see 4 results, right? If there was 4, this is an opportunity. Or if maybe in my note I only wanted to see 1 result, I can right-click in that area and say only show me 1. Or maybe for this rheumatoid one, I wanted to see more than 1. Right, so, I want to see 2 ANAs, 2 rheumatoid factors. There isn't any SED rates, but, well, sure enough. I get in my preview over here, I'm going to see already what it's going to pull in. So sure enough, I'm able to pull in extras. It's a really handy feature when you're wanting to kind of look at that trend of some lab values on the fly while you're working on your note, is to know that you can edit those SmartLink parameters right after you add it. How about the last HCV antibody? Right, so there's a foundation one, but then there's one that I've added that pulls in more base names since there's been other build to capture some that might get missed with the foundation. So we pull in that value right there. So last CD4 pulls in. So yes, things are there in most cases under the last. And also if you get used to start doing some of the .q for the tools I've been building out, you'll find those as well. And know that they've had that extra look over of the base names to try to make sure we're pulling it in compared to the base foundation build. I'll mention again from the Labs Do video, the logic-based Labs Do, how you can use the .qdo SmartLink, and that will help you pull in all those lab values, right? Instead of in the order set, being able to look at them, you can use a SmartLink to pull them in to your note, like this, with the same ability to edit it and add other base names, or see which other ones were in here that didn't pull in. This test patient has 2 creatinines on the same date and time because it was just a test patient, and they put in the creatinine clearance under the same base name, so that's why you're getting 2 values in there. So, Last Labs SmartLinks. Wondering what they're called? Yes, you can start to type .last and scroll through, or look at the pop-up to get more details of which ones have been built out. Definitely reach out if you find some that are after go live, they're not working. They're pulling in the wrong item or not pulling in something that's clearly available on the chart. At the bottom of the Last Lab SmartLinks pop-up, there's also the other SmartLinks one, so you can putting these redundancies in place to capture finding the tools easily to remind yourself, because in the thick of the moment when that patient is right in front of you, it can be so hard to remember these things. But if you know qTools, if you know how to do the qTools and add the disappearing pop-up links here, you can then get to the tools right in front of the patient and try to remember what note, what order sets, what SmartLinks. If you're building out your own note and you want a very simple diagnosis list with no frills, .dx, simple diagnosis list as a table. If you want a simple encounter order list with by name only, .encordnm, encordnm. All right, go back and look at the other SmartLinks. So other ones that I've kind of highlighted in here include also the 3 growth percentiles, .gfa. So I have a pediatric patient to demonstrate that .gfa, key growth for age percentiles, in a chart. It's just test data, so it's not complete because I didn't put any data in this particular visit. Just test data, but that's what you can use. I believe there's a synonym of just growth percent. We'll do the similar. Pull in the same thing. So a couple of ways to do that. What other SmartLinks might be beneficial to you? If you have had use of the old Allscripts macros, for those that are doing precepting and attestations, there's the Medicare attestations, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Those are in there, and I believe may have configured these. Now it's not configured, but easy enough to do, to then also add in the person's name into that. But I believe the Epic attestations will be in a kind of a separate little area, and this getting your name on there may not be required because it's going to have a signature, but it's certainly possible to include your name. Very easy, right? That other SmartLink.me for me. Give your name with your credentials. Other old Allscripts would be such as the PDMP. If you did want to put in somewhere that the PDMP was consulted. The verbiage for non-acute pain when you're giving a controlled substance for non-acute chronic pain. .NAP. So I'm back into my listing of SmartLinks to point out. And one that you might like in your note is that will embed all the health maintenance topics by all statuses, right? So all these different health maintenance topics that apply to that patient, it will show the ones that were completed, then the ones that are overdue, discontinued. It also include ones that they've aged out of. So it's a longer list. Or there's two variations. One that will just give you a table of the ones that are due, and then one that will give you a table of topics that are either overdue or due. So that's one way to get those pieces of information into your note with those smart links. So if we wanted to see the ones with all statuses, right, this is a good way to look at this information. I mean, you have the whole care gaps board over here that you can go to, and this can cause quite a bit of note bloat. So you're not going to want to use this all the time, but it does give you some really good information as far as those items that are overdue, due soon, the ones that are not due with their completion dates available, and other items that are either they're completed or they've aged out of. Okay, so you see how that one works. If you're, as far as which ones are due, I mean, right, this piece of information is just going to map right back over to what you see in the storyboard of this is going to show you which ones are due. We have some ones that are due, but there's orders in place, and ones that there's not yet orders. So it's the same pieces of information here with those care gaps. Items such as .last visit plan text, right, where you can, yes, you can look at your last note and you can do copy paste easily within Epic, or you can use a smart link to insert the text from a plan section of the most recent visit. With the use of the newer diagnosis aware notes and different A&P notes, this may not work like you intend. This would be more if you just have a simple, plain, free text plan section of text, blob of text in the plan area of the note to pull that in. Another one to point out would be a plain text problem list. Okay, so this is what the plain problem list looks like. It puts the diagnosis, and then it puts the date that item was added to the chart. Okay, it might not be exactly what you're looking for, but if you want something pretty basic, prob plain will get you there. So all these work the same way. You want a past surgical history plain with no dates. You want a plain tobacco history. Or maybe you want a bullet list of their medications. That's simple. .cmeds simple. Let's try that one out. All right, so we want to try out the cmeds simple list and compare it. Right, so here's the more complete kind of medication list built as a table with information, including the SIG. And here's the simple med list that will just list the meds with the dosing, but nothing else. Yeah. So let me point out this one that's called the .last proc. right? This will give you the results for any orderable procedure or panel by code. For example, the available Epic codes for lung cancer screening tests include these two codes, IMGH 297, IMG 200A. If I know those codes, I can use this .lastproc. And how do you know those codes? Well, so when you order something and it does pull up as a procedure to be ordered, you'll see one of the columns includes the code. So you can, my goal would be to eventually have another pop-up that's going to give you the common codes for those common studies, but you can also start to make your own list. Anytime you order something, have a little area that you're going to start to capture these codes, and then you can use the LastProc SmartLink to pull in the results, right? But sometimes there's more than one code, so that could depend where you have a code for a hospital and an out of hospital. Okay, so some issues got to think of there, but once you know that code, then you can be able to go back to it again and again. That will serve you well, and we'll have some of these built out. So, right, I can leverage this SmartLink and build a smart phrase for last chest x-ray or the last LDCT. So instead of using LastProc and having to remember the code, now you can use the smart phrase for last chest x-ray, last low dose CT screen. Okay. So these are just leveraging, you'll see if I edit it, I'm just leveraging the same LastProc SmartLink, and then I've done the work for you of putting in all the different codes for that test that are available in our dictionary to make sure it's going to try to find it. So I know I'm only scratching the surface of SmartLinks, and I don't have the greatest data in these patients to maximize their visibility for you, but I do hope that I'm once again pointing you to the ability to get quick information while you're working in Epic, to access the tools that are available, to use the hyperlinks, to remind yourself what these smart links are. And to me, also that biggest teaching is about the ability to right-click on something and edit it, especially when it comes to the smart link only gives you one lab result, but you want to see 2 or 3, or the smart link gives you 3 and you only want to show 1 in your note. So that's to me one of the big takeaways, accessing these on the fly while you're taking care of your patients, and editing on the fly to really get things to look the way you want them and to see the information that you want to see. Have a good day.